Your dog's not just reacting to the cold, he's reacting to everything. Welcome to The Dog Who Asked for More, the podcast helping dog parents who feel stuck and overwhelmed by their pup finally let go of the guilt, learn to communicate clearly, and build the bond you've always dreamed of through a partnership-based approach that combines training, nutrition, and enrichment instead of chasing the quick fixes that don't actually work. I'm Em, and in this episode, you'll learn why winter makes reactivity worse and why it's not your fault, what to do when walking your dog feels impossible, unsafe, or just too much, and how to build calm and confidence without needing a 3-mile leash walk. Let's talk about winter, because if you've got a reactive dog, you already know that this season can be a total landmine. The ice, the wind, the boots and coats and flying trash bins, the visibility changes, the static shocks, the new smells, the lack of daylight, it all adds up. And I want to say this up front. If you're skipping walks right now, that's not failure, that is wisdom. Fizz hates winter walks, always has. And for years, I tried to push through. I thought walks were non-negotiable. Like if I skipped them, I was the bad pet parent. But every walk became a battle, and Fitz was always on edge. I was always on edge, and then we'd come home more stressed out than we were when we left. So I started asking, what if this isn't what he needs? What if a winter walk isn't calming, it's actually triggering? That is when everything started to change. So why are winter walks harder for reactive dogs? Well, first, limited daylight and reduced visibility. Also, everyone's bundled up. So not only were strangers before, now they're extra strangers with super confusing silhouettes. On top of that, you have boots that get covered in salt and ice. There's all kinds of different noises because of those things, and that can lead to a sensory overload. Sound carries differently in the winter when there is snow. Other dogs are also off routine and often unpredictable. So if your dog is already reactive or anxious, those environmental shifts hit hard. Kind of like seasonal depression and how it hits us in the winter time. Your dog isn't being dramatic. Their nervous system is reacting to real inputs because safety, predictability, and comfort have all disappeared. So instead of pushing through the noise, we decided to pivot. And this winter, I want to give you permission to not walk and some practical alternatives. One idea for a fun activity is drive-through sniffing. Roll the window down at a quiet park or a trail to start, or an empty parking lot. You can build up slowly to make this a fun, engaging activity where your dog just sits and sniffs inside the car with you. You can also play trash box games. Fill cardboard box with safe recyclables, sprinkle in treats, and let your dog forage. I have a video on YouTube that will show you exactly how to do this. Another fun one is scent trails in the garage or the hallway. You can lay down a treat trail that loops around low distraction items in the space, or set up a fun little obstacle course in your hallway and sprinkle treats through it. This is a great replacement for scatter feeding in the yard. Maybe try a sniffari inside the house. Hide food in different rooms before work or bedtime and let your dog go ham. Make sure that if you have 2 dogs, that they each have their own areas. Maybe they can each have their own room. You just don't ever want to have conflict over food. People watching is one of my favorite activities to do with my dogs. Front porch decompression. Sit outside for 5 to 10 minutes together. Give your dog a long line so they can wander around the porch area, but don't have a goal. Just be present and reward frequently. If you're lucky enough to have a dog that does love the cold, great. Go early, go short, and always have a backup plan just in case your dog has an off day. Remember, you don't owe your dog a 30-minute walk every day. You owe them safety, communication, and trust. That might look like throwing snowballs in the yard, doing one short training rep inside, giving them a frozen mat while you decompress together, or even just doing something as simple as a snuffle mat. Training your dog doesn't just happen on the walks, and neither does bonding. This week's Answering the Ask story is about Fitz. One night, I went to grab a leash and he darted away from the door. Not in a zoomies way, but in a please don't make me way. I paused. He wasn't barking, he wasn't lunging, but his body was stiff, his eyes were wide, His tail was tucked and he was licking his lips. So I sat down instead. He ran right to the couch and jumped up there with me and laid down and just sighed. That night, he wasn't asking for a walk. He was asking for peace. And that's when I knew he needed a new routine. He wasn't giving up. He was just asking to be heard. Let's close out with this week's Dog to Human Translator. A quick reminder that communication isn't always about what we say. It's about what we notice. And if your dog is hesitating at the door, if their eyes are wide and their steps are stiff, their breath is short, they're licking their lips, that is communication. It is okay to pause. It is okay to say, not today. And it's okay to choose calm over chaos. Behavior is information. And when we listen to it, everything gets easier. So if today's walk felt like it was too much, if your dog got overstimulated by ice, boots, salt, and noise, you didn't do anything wrong. Your dog isn't broken. You're both adapting. And that is worth celebrating. Be kind, spread joy, and remember, your dog doesn't need perfect walks. They need to feel understood. Thank you for listening to The Dog Who Asked for More and for showing up for your dog today. If you've been trying to figure things out on your own and nothing seems to work, it's exhausting to keep guessing and wondering if you're failing your dog. That's why I offer a free 15-minute call so you can walk away with clear next steps for training, nutrition, or enrichment that actually fit you and your dog. The link is in the show notes. New episodes drop every Monday and Wednesday. I'll see you next time.